Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read 2 Samuel 22-24, 1 Kings 1-3, Psalm 119, Proverbs 21. Let's get started. And David spake to the Lord with the words of this song on the day when the Lord delivered him from the hand of all his enemies, and from the hand of Saul. And he said, The Lord is my rock and my fortress, and my deliverer, my God and my rock, in him I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation. Stronghold of my refuge, my Saviour, you save me from violence. I call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The waves of death encompass me. The torrents of destruction assailed me. The cords of Sheol entangled me. The snares of death confronted me. In my distress I called upon the Lord. To my God I called. From his temple he heard my voice, and my cry came to his ears. Then the earth reeled and rocked. The foundations of the heavens trembled and quaked because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and devouring fire from his mouth. Glowing coals flamed forth from him. He bowed the heavens and came down. Thick darkness was under his feet. He rode on a cherubim flew. He was seen on the wings of the wind. He made darkness around him his canopy. Thick clouds, a gathering of water. Out of the brightness before him, the coals of fire flamed forth. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the Most High uttered his voice. And he sent out arrows and scattered them, lightning and rooted them. And then the channels of the sea were seen. The foundations of the world were laid bare. At the rebuke of the Lord, at the blast of the breath of his nostrils, he sent from on high. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He rescued me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity. But the Lord was my support. He brought me out into a broad place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord dealt with me according to my righteousness. According to the cleanness of my hands, he rewarded me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord, and have not wickedly departed from my God. For all his rules were before me, and from his statutes I did not turn aside. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself from guilt. And the Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to my cleanness in his sight. With the merciful you show yourself merciful. With the blameless man you show yourself blameless. With the purified man you deal purely. And with the crooked you make yourself seem torturous. You save 100 humble people, but your eyes are on the haughty to bring them down. For you are my lamp, O Lord, and my God lightens my darkness. By you I can run against the truth, and by my God I can leap over all. This God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord proves true. He is a shield for all who take refuge in him. For who is God but the Lord? And who is a rock except our God? This God is my strong refuge, and he has made my way blameless. He has set my feet like the feet of a deer, and set me secure on the heights. He trains my hands for war, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. You have given me the shield of your salvation. Your gentleness has made me great. You gave me a wide place for my steps under me, and my feet did not slip. I pursued my enemies and destroyed them, and did not turn back until they were consumed. I consumed them. I thrust them through, so that they did not rise. They fell under my feet, for you equipped me with strength for battle. You made those who rise against me sink under me. You made my enemies turn their backs to me, those who hated me, and I destroyed them. They left, because there was no one to save. They cried to the Lord, but he did not answer them. Then I beat them as fine as the dust of the earth. I crushed them and stamped them down like the mire of the streets. You delivered me from strife with my people. You kept me as the head of the nations. People whom I had not known served me. Foreigners came cringing to me. As soon as they heard of me, they obeyed me. Foreigners lost heart and came trembling out of their fortresses. The Lord lives, blessed be my rock, and exalted be my God, the rock of my salvation, the God who gave me vengeance and brought down peoples under me, who brought me out from my enemies, who exalted me above those who rose against me, who delivered me from men of violence. For this I will praise you, O Lord among the nations, and sing praises to your name. Great salvation he brings to the king, and shows steadfast love to his anointed, to David and to his offspring forever. Now these are the last words of David, the oracle of David, the son of Jesse, the oracle of the man who was raised on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord speaks to me, his word is on my tongue. The God of Israel has spoken, the rock of Israel has said to me that when one rules justly over men, ruling in the fear of God, he dawns on them like the morning light, like the sun shining forth on the cloudless morning, like rain that makes grass to sprout from the earth. For does not my house stand so with God? For he has made with me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and secure. For he will not cause to prosper all my help and my desire. For worthless men are are all like thorns that are thrown away, but they cannot be taken with the hand. But the man who touches them arms himself with iron and the shaft with a spear, and they are utterly consumed with fire. These are the names of the mighty men whom David had: Joshua, Bashabeth, Talchemanite. He was chief of the three. He wielded his spear against 800 whom he killed at one time. And next to him was among the three mighty men was Eleazar the son of Dodo, son of Ahiah. He was with David when they defied the Philistines who were gathered there for battle, and the men of Israel withdrew. He rose and struck down the Philistines until his hand was weary, and his hand clung to the sword. And the Lord brought about a great victory that day. And the men returned after him, only to strip the slain. And next to him was Shammah, the son of Agi the Hararite. The Philistines gathered together at Lehi. And there was a plot of ground full of lentils. And the men fled from the Philistines, but he took his stand in the midst of the plot, and defended it, and struck down the Philistines. And the Lord worked a great victory. And 30 chief men went down and came about harvest time to David at the camp of Adullam, and a band of Philistines was encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then at Bethlehem. And David said longingly, "Oh, that someone would give me water to drink from the well of Bethlehem that is by the gate." And the three mighty men that was by the gate carried and brought it to David. And he would not drink of it. He poured it out to the Lord, and said, "Far be it from me, O Lord, that I should do this. Shall I drink the blood of the men who went at risk of their lives?" Therefore he would not drink it. These things the three mighty men did. And Abishai the brother of Joab the son of Zeruiah, who was chief of the 30, and he wielded his spear against the 300 men, and killed them, and won a name beside the three. He was the most renowned of the 30, and became their commander, but he did not attain to the three. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada was a valiant man of Kabzeel, a doer of great deeds. He struck down 2 Ariels of Moab. He also went down and struck down a lion in a pit on a day when snow had fallen. And he struck down an Egyptian, a handsome man. The Egyptian had a spear in his hand, but Benaiah went down to him with the staff and snatched the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and killed him with his own spear. These things Benaiah the son of Jehoiada did and won a name beside the three mighty men. He was renowned among the 30, but he did not attain to the three. And David sent him over the bodyguard. Asahel, the brother of Joab, was one of the 30. Elhanan, the son of Dodo, son of Bethlehem. Shammah of Haran. Elika of Haran. Heles the Palatite. Ira, the son of Ikesh of Tekoa. Abisa of Anathoth. Mebanai, the Hushathite. Zalman, the Ahahite. Merarite of Netopha. Heled, the son of Baanah of Netopha. Itai, the son of Ribai of Gibeah of the people of Benjamin. Benaiah, the son of Benaiah of Pirathon. Hiddai of the brooks of Gash. Abialbon the Arbathite. Asmaveth of Gaharon. Eliabah the Shalbanite. The sons of Jashan. Jonathan, Shammah the Hararite. Ahiam, the son of Shara the Hararite. Eliphalet, the son of Ahashbai of Makkah. Eliam, the son of Ahithophel the Gilamite. Hezrah of Carmel. Parai the Arbite. Igul, the son of Nathan of Zobah. Bani the Gadite. Zelek the Ammonite. Naharai of Beeroth. The Armabear of Joab the son of Zeruiah. Ira the Ithrite. Garab the Ithrite. Uriah the Hittite. 37 in all. Again the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he incited David against them, saying, "Go, number Israel and Judah." And the king said to Joab, the commander of the army, who was with him, "Go through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, and number the people." That I made known the number of the people. Now Joab said to the king, "May the Lord your God add to the people 100 times as many as they are." Now the eyes of my lord the king still see. But why does my lord the king delight in this thing? The king's word had prevailed against Joab and the commanders of the army. So Joab and the commanders of the army went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. They crossed the Jordan and began from Arel, and from the sea that is in the middle of the valley, toward Gad and on to Jazer. And then they came to Gilead, and to Kadesh in the land of the Hittites. And they came to Dan, and from Dan they went around to Sidon. And they came to the fortress of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and Canaanites. And they went out to the Negeb of Judah at Beersheba. And when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave the sum of the numbering of the people to the king. In Israel there were 800,000 valiant men who drew the sword, and the men of Judah were 500,000. David's heart struck him after he had numbered the people. And David said to the Lord, I have sinned greatly in what I have done. But now, Lord, please take away the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly. And when David arose in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad. David said, Go and say to David, Thus says the Lord, 3 things I offer you, choose one of them, that I may do it to you. So Gad came to David and told him, Choose, and said to him, And shall 3 years of famine come to you in your land? Will you flee 3 months before your foes, while they pursue you? Or shall there be 3 days pestilence in your land? Now consider, and decide what answer I shall return to him who sent me. And David said to Gad, I am in great distress. Let fall into the hand of the Lord, for his mercy is great, but let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence on Israel from the morning until the appointed time, and there died on the people from Dan to Beersheba 70,000 men. And when the angel had stretched out his hand toward Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord relented from the calamity and said to the angel who was working destruction among the people, It is enough. Now stay your hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And David spake to the Lord when he saw the angel who was striking the people, and said, Behold, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand be against me and against my father's house. And Gad came that day to David and said to him, Go out, rise and raise an altar to the Lord on the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. So David went up at Gad's word as the Lord commanded. When Araunah looked down, he saw the king and his servants coming along toward him. When Araunah went out and paid homage to the king with his face to the ground, and Araunah said, Why has my lord the king come to his servant? David said, To buy the threshing floor from you, in order to build an altar to the Lord. The plague may be averted from the people. Then Araunah said to David, Let my lord the king take and offer out what seems good to him. Here are the oxen for the burnt offering, and the threshing sledges, and the yokes of the oxen for the wood. All this, O king, Araunah gives to the king. And Araunah said to the king, May the Lord your God accept you. And the king said to Araunah, No, but I will buy it from you for a price. I will not offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God that cost me nothing. So David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar to the Lord and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord responded to the plea for the women, and the plague was abated from Israel. 1 Kings 1-3. Now King David was old and advanced in years, and although they covered him with clothes, he could not get warm. Therefore his servants said to him, Let a young woman be sought for you, my lord the king, and let her wait on the king and be in his service. Let her lie in your arms, that the king may be warm. So they sought for a beautiful young woman throughout all the territory of Israel, and found Abishai the Shunammite, and brought her to the king. And the young woman was very beautiful, and she was of service to the king, and attended to her, but the king knew it not. Now Adonijah the son of Haggith exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he had prepared for himself chariots and 50 men to run before him. His father had never at any time displeased him by asking, Why have you done this, thou son? So he was also a very handsome man, and he was born next after Absalom. He conferred with Joab the son of Zeruiah and with the father priest, and they followed Adonijah and helped him. But Zadok the priest and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada and Nathan the prophet of Shimei and Ray and David's mighty men were not with Adonijah. Adonijah sacrificed sheep, oxen, and fattened cattle by the serpent's stone, which is beside En-Rogel, and invited all his brothers, the king's sons, and all the royal officials of Judah. But he did not invite Nathan the prophet or Benaiah, or the mighty men, or Solomon his brother. Then Nathan said to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, Have you not heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith has become king of David? And David our Lord does not know. Now therefore come, let me give you advice, that you may save your own life and the life of your son Solomon. Go now once to King David and say to him, Do you not, my lord the king, swear to your servant, saying, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. Why then is Adonijah king? And while you are still speaking to the king, I also will come in after you and confirm your words. So Bathsheba went to the king in his chamber. Now Bathsheba bowed and paid homage to the king. The king said, "What do you desire?" She said to him, "My lord, you swore to your servant by the Lord your God, saying, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. And now, behold, Adonijah is king, although you, my lord, the king, do not know. He has sacrificed oxen, fattened cattle, and sheep in abundance, and has invited all the sons of the king. Abiathar the priest, and Joab the commander of the army. But Solomon your servant, he is not invited. And now, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are on you. Tell them who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king, after him. Otherwise it will come to pass, when my lord the king sleeps with his fathers, and that I and my son Solomon will be counted offenders." And while she was still speaking with the king, Nathan the prophet came in, and they told the king, "Here's Nathan the prophet." And when he came in before the king, he bowed before the king with his face to the ground. And Nathan said, "My lord the king, have you said, Adonijah shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne? For he has gone down this day, and he has sacrificed oxen, fattened cattle, and sheep in abundance, and gone down this day, and has invited all the king's sons, the commanders of the army, and Abiathar the priest. And behold, they are eating and drinking before him, and saying, Long live King Adonijah. Me, your servant, and Zadok the priest, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and your servant Solomon, he is not invited. Has this thing been brought about by my lord the king? And you have not told your servants who should sit on the throne, and my lord the king after him?" Then King David answered, "Call Bathsheba to me." So she came into the king's presence and stood before the king. And the king swore, saying, "As the Lord lives, who has redeemed my soul out of every adversity, as I swore to you by the Lord, the God of Israel, saying, Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my place. Even so I will do this day." And Bathsheba bowed with her face to the ground, and paid homage to the king, and said, "May my lord King David lift you up." Then King David said, "Call to me Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada." So they came before the king, and the king said to them, "Take with you the servants of your lord, and have Solomon my son ride on my own mule, and bring him down to guide him. And let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet there, anoint him king over Israel. And blow the trumpet and say, Long live King Solomon. You shall then come out after him. You shall come and sit on my throne. You shall be king in my place. And I have appointed him to be ruler over Israel and over Judah." And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada answered the king, "Amen. May the Lord, the God of my lord the king, say so. And as the Lord has been with my lord the king, even so may he be with Solomon, and make his throne greater than the throne of my lord King David." So Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites went down, and had Solomon ride on King David's mule, and anointed Solomon. Then they blew the trumpet, and all the people said, Long live King Solomon. So then all the people went up after him, playing on pipes, and rejoicing with great joy, so that all the earth was split by their noise. Adonijah and all the guests who were with him heard it as they finished feasting. And when Joab heard the sound of the trumpet, he said, What does this uproar in the city mean? And while he was still speaking, behold, Jonathan, the son of Abiathar the priest, came. And Adonijah said, Come in, for you are a worthy man, and bring good news. But Jonathan answered Adonijah, No, for our lord King David has made Solomon king. And the king has sent with him Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites. And they had him ride on the king's mule. And Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king at Kai, and they have gone up from there rejoicing, so that the sea is in an uproar. This is the noise you've heard. Solomon sits on the royal throne. Moreover, the king's servants came to congratulate our lord King David, saying, May your God make the name of Solomon more famous than yours, and may his throne greater than your throne. And the king bowed himself on the bed. And the king rose to say, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who has granted someone to sit on my throne this day, my own eyes seeing it. And all the guests of Adonijah trembled and rose, and each went his own way. And Adonijah feared Solomon, so he arose and went and took hold of the horns of the altar. And it was told Solomon, Behold, Adonijah fears King Solomon, but behold, he has laid hold hold of the horns of the altar, saying, "Let King Solomon swear to me that fast that he will not put his servant to death with the sword." And Solomon said, "If he will show himself worthy, not one of his hairs shall fall to the earth, but if wickedness is found in him, he shall die." So King Solomon sent, and they brought him down from the altar. And he came and paid homage to King Solomon. And Solomon said to him, "Go to your house." And when David's time to die drew near, he commanded Solomon his son, saying, "I am about to go the way of all the earth. Be strong and show yourself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord your God, walking in his ways and keeping his statutes, his commandments, his rules, and all his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do, and wherever you turn, that the Lord may establish his word that he spoke concerning me, saying, If your sons pay close attention to their way, to walk before me in faithfulness with all their heart and with all their soul, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, you also know what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, how he dealt with the two commanders of the armies of Israel, Abner the son of Ner, and Amasa the son of Jether, whom he killed, avenging in time of peace for blood that had been shed in war, and putting the blood of war on the belt around his waist and on the sandals of his feet. Act therefore according to your wisdom, but do not let his grey head go down to Sheol in peace, but deal loyally with the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be among those who eat your table. For with such loyalty they met you when I fled from Absalom your brother. And there is also with you Shimei the son of Gera, the Benjaminite among Bahraim, who cursed me with a grievous curse on the day when I went to Mahanaim. But when he came down to me at the dawn, I swore to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. And therefore do not hold him guiltless, for you are a wise man. You will know what you ought to do to him, and you shall bring his grey head down with blood to Sheol. And then David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. And the time that David reigned over Israel was 40 years. And he reigned 7 years in Hebron and 33 years in Jerusalem. Solomon sat on the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was firmly established. Then Adonijah the son of Haggith came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, and she said, Do you come peacefully? He said, Peacefully. Then he said, I have something to say to you. She said, Speak. He said, You know that the kingdom was mine, and that all Israel fully expected me to reign. However, the kingdom has turned about and become my brother's. It was his from the Lord's. And I have one request to make of you. Do not refuse me. She said to him, Speak. And he said, Please ask King Solomon, and he will not refuse you to give me Abishag the Shunammite as my wife. Bathsheba said, Very well, I will speak to you to the king. And Bathsheba went to King Solomon to speak to him on behalf of Adonijah. And the king rose to meet her and bowed down to her. And he sat on his throne and had a seat built up for the king's mother. And she sat on his right. And she said, I have one small request to make of you. Do not refuse me. And the king said to her, Make your request. Request to make of you, my mother, for I will not refuse you. She said, Let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah your brother as his wife. King Solomon answered his brother, And why do you ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is my older brother, and on his side are Abiathar the priest, and Joab the son of Zeruiah. Then King Solomon swore by the Lord, saying, God do so to me and more also, if this word does not cost Adonijah his life. Now therefore, as the Lord lives, who has established me and placed me on the throne of David my father, who has made me a house, as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death today. So King Solomon sent Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and he struck him down, and he died. And to Abiathar the priest, and the king said, Go to Anathoth to your estate, for you deserve death. But I will not at this time put you to death, because he carried the ark of the Lord God before David my father, and because he shared in all my father's affliction. So Solomon expelled Abiathar from being priest to the Lord, thus fulfilling the word of the Lord that he had spoken concerning the house of Eli in Shiloh. When the news came to Joab, for Joab had supported Adonijah, although he had not supported Absalom, Joab fled to the tent of the Lord and caught hold of the horns of the altar. And when he was talking to Solomon, Joab had fled to the tent of the Lord, and behold, he is beside the altar. Solomon sent Benaiah to the son of Jehoiada, saying, Go, strike him down. So Benaiah came to the tent of the Lord and said to him, The king commands, come out. And he said, No, I'll die here. Then Benaiah brought the king word again, saying, Thus said Joab, and thus he answered me. And the king replied to him, Do not see he has said, Strike him down and bury him, and thus take away from me and from my father's house the guilt for his blood that Joab shed without cause. The Lord will bring back his bloody deeds on his own head, because without the knowledge of my father David, he attacked and killed with the sword 2 men who were more righteous and better than himself. Abner the son of Ner, commander of the army of Israel, and Amasa the son of Jether, commander of the army of Judah. So shall all their blood come back on the head of Joab and on the head of his descendants forever. For David and for his descendants and for his house and for his throne there shall be peace from the Lord forevermore. And Benaiah the son of Jehoiada went up and struck him down and put him to death, and he was buried in his own house in the wilderness. The king put Benaiah the son of Jehoiada over the army in place of Joab, and the king put Zadok the priest in place of Abiathar. And the king sent and summoned Shimei and said to him, Build yourself a house in Jerusalem and dwell there, and do not go out from there to any place whatever. On the day you go and cross the brook Kidron, for I know for certain that you shall die. Your blood shall be on your own head. And Shimei said to the king, What you say is good, as my lord the king said. So will his servant do. So Shimei lived in Jerusalem many days. And it happened at the end of 3 years that 2 of Shimei's servants went away to Achish, son of Maacah, king of Gath. And when it was told Shimei, Behold, your servants are in Gath, Shimei arose and saddled a donkey and went to Gath to Achish to seek his servants. Shimei went and brought his servants from Gath. And when Solomon was told that Shimei had gone from Jerusalem to Gath and returned, the king sent and summoned Shimei and said to him, Did I not make you swear by the Lord and solemnly warn you, saying, Know for certain that on the day you go out and go to any place whatever, you shall die. And you said to me, What you say is good, and I will obey. Why then have you not kept your oath to the Lord, and the commandment with which the harm that you did to David my father? So the Lord will bring back the harm on your own head. The king Solomon shall be blessed, and the throne of David shall be established before the Lord forever. And the king commanded Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and he went out and struck him down, and he died. So the kingdom was established in the hand of Solomon. Solomon made a marriage alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had finished building his own house and the house of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. The people were sacrificing at the high places, however, because no house had been built for the name of the Lord. Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David's father. Only he sacrificed and made offerings at the high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Solomon used to offer 1,000 burnt offerings on the altar. At Gibeon the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, Ask what I shall give you. And Solomon said, You have shown great and steadfast love to your servant David, my father, because he walked before you in faithfulness and righteousness and in uprightness, and in heart toward you. And you have kept for him this great and steadfast love, and have given him a son to sit on his throne this day. And now, O Lord my God, you've made your servant king in place of David my father. And although I am but a little child, I do not know how to go out or come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people whom you have chosen, a great people, too many to be numbered or counted for multitude. Give yourself therefore an understanding mind to govern your people, that they may discern between good and evil. For who is able to govern this your great people? And praise the Lord that Solomon had asked this. And God said to him, Because you have asked this, and have not asked for yourself long life or riches, or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself but with eye for yourself, understanding to discern what is right. Behold, I now do according to your word. Behold, I will give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you have been before you, and none like you shall arise after you. I give you also what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that no other king shall compare with you all your days. And if you will walk in my ways, keep my statutes and my commandments, as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings, and made a feast for all servants. And 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. And a woman said, O my lord, this woman and I live in the same house, and they gave birth to a child while she was in the house. And then on the 3rd day after I gave birth, this woman also gave birth. And we were alone. There was no one else with us in the house, only we 2 were in the house. And this woman's son died in the night, because she lay on him. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while your servant slept, and laid him at her breast, and laid her dead son at my breast. When I rose in the morning to nurse my child, behold, he was dead. Yet when I looked at him closely in the morning, behold, he was not the child that I had born. The other woman said, No, the living child is mine, and the dead child is yours. And the first said, No, the dead child is yours, and the living child is mine. Thus they spoke before the king. Then the king said, the one said, This is my son that is alive, and your son is dead. And the other said, No, but your son is dead, and my son is the living one. And the king said, Bring me a sword. So a sword was brought before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in 2, and give half to the one and half to the other. And the woman whose son was alive and said to the king, Because her heart yearned for a son, O my lord, give her the living child, and by no means put him to death. But the other said, He shall be neither mine nor yours. Divide him. Then the king answered and said, Give the living child to the first woman, and by no means put him to death. And she is his mother. And all Israel heard of the judgment that the king had rendered. And they stood in awe of the king, because they perceived that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice. Proverbs 21. A king's heart is a stream of water in the hands of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. If the way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do righteousness and justice more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the lamp of the wicked are sin, and the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. But everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. The getting of treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a snare of death. The violence of the wicked will sweep them away, because they refuse to do what is just. The way of the wicked is crooked, and the conduct of the pure is upright. It is better to live in a corner of the household than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife. The soul of the wicked desires evil, when his neighbor finds no mercy in his eyes. When a scoffer is punished, the simple becomes wise. When a wise man is instructed, he gains knowledge. The righteous man observes the house of the wicked. He throws the wicked down to ruin. Whoever closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself call out and not be answered. A gift in secret averts anger, and a concealed bribe strong wrath. When justice is done, it is a joy to the righteous, a terror to evildoers. One who wanders from the way of good sense will rest in the assembly of the dead. And whoever loves pleasure will be a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not be rich. The wicked is a ransom for the righteous, and the traitor for the upright. It is better to live in a desert land than with a quarrelsome and fretful woman. Precious treasure and oil are in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life, righteousness, and honor. A wise man scales the city of the mighty, and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. And scoffers the name of the arrogant haughtiness, who acts with arrogant pride. The desire that was sluggard kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. All his long day long he craves and craves, but the righteous gives and does not hold back. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with evil intent? A false witness will perish. And the word of the Lord, but the word of a man who hears one true. The wicked man puts on a bold face, and the upright gives thought to his way. No wisdom, no understanding, no counsel can avail against the Lord. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. Psalm 119. Blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the way of the Lord. Blessed are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with their whole heart, who also do no wrong, but walk in his ways. You have commanded out your precepts to be kept diligently. Oh, that my ways be steadfast in keeping your statutes. Then I would not Then I shall not be put to shame, having my eyes fixed on all your commandments. I'll praise you with an upright heart when I learn your righteous rules, and I'll keep your statutes. Do not utterly forsake me. How can a young man keep his way pure? By guarding it according to your word. With my whole heart I seek you. Let me not wander from your commandments. I have stored your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Thus I, your Lord, teach me your statutes. With my lips I declare all the rules of your mouth. In the ways of your testimonies I delight, as much as in all riches. I will meditate on your precepts, and fix my eyes on your ways. How delight in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. Open my eyes, that I may behold a wondrous things out of your law. I am a sojourner of the earth. Hide not your commandments from me. My soul is consumed with longing, for your rules are at all times. You rebuke the insolent accursed ones. You wander from your commandments. Take away from me scorn and contempt, for I have kept your testimonies. Even though princes sit plotting with me, your servant will meditate on your statutes. Your testimonies are my delight. They are my counselors. My soul clings to the dust. Give me life according to your word. When I was told of your ways, my ways, you answered me. Teach me your statutes. Make me understand the way of your precepts, and I will meditate on your wondrous works. My soul melts away for sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. I will false ways far from me, and graciously teach me your law. I have chosen the way of faithfulness. I have set your rules before me. I set your rules before me. I cling to your testimonies, O Lord. Let me not be put to shame. I will run in the way of your commandments. When you enlarge my heart, teach me, O Lord, the way of your statutes, and I will keep it to the end. Give me understanding, that I may keep your law and observe it with my whole heart. Lead me in the path of your commandments, for I delight in it. Incline my heart to your testimonies, and not to selfish gain. Turn my eyes from looking at worthless things, and give me life in your ways. In your ways, confirm to your servant your promise, that you may be feared. Turn away the reproach that I dread, for your rules are good. Behold, I long for your precepts. In your righteousness give me life. May your steadfast love come to me, O Lord, your salvation according to your promise. And I shall have an answer for him who taunts me, for I trust in your word. And I take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, and my hope is in your rules. I will keep your law continually forever and ever, and I shall walk in a wide place, for I have sought your precepts. I will also speak of your testimonies before kings, and shall not be put to shame. For I find my delight in your commandments, which I love, and I will lift up my hands toward your commandments, which I love, and I will meditate on your statutes. Remember your word to yourself, in which you have made me hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, that your promise gives me life. Insolent utterly deride me, that I do not turn away from your law. When I think of your rules from of old, I take comfort, O Lord. Hot indignation seizes me because of the wicked, who forsake your law. Your statutes have been my songs in the house of my sojourning. I remember your name in the night, O Lord, and keep your law. This blessing has fallen to me, that I have kept your precepts. The Lord is my portion, and I promise to keep your words. I entreat your favor with all my heart. Be gracious to me according to your promise. When I think on my ways, and turn my feet to your testimonies, I hasten and do not delay to keep your commandments. Though the cords of the wicked ensnare me, I do not forget your law. At midnight I rise to praise you, because of your righteous rules. I am a companion of all who fear you, of those who keep your precepts. The earth, O Lord, is full of your steadfast love. Teach me your statutes. You have dealt well with your servant, O Lord, according to your word. Teach me good judgment and good knowledge, for I believe in your commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, and now I keep your word. You are good and do good. Teach me your statutes. The insolent smear with lies. Though with my whole heart I keep your precepts. Their heart is unfeeling like fat, but I delight in your law. It is good for me that I was afflicted, that I might learn your statutes. The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of gardens in all pieces. Your hands have made and fashioned me. Give me understanding, that I may learn your commandments. Those who fear you shall see me and rejoice, because I have hoped in your word. I know, O Lord, that your rules are righteous, and that in faithfulness you have afflicted me. Let your steadfast love comfort me. According to your promise, that to your servant, let your mercy come to me, that I may live. For your law is my delight. Let the insolent be put to shame, because they have wronged me with falsehood. As for me, I will meditate on your precepts. Let those who fear you turn to me, that they may know your testimonies. May my heart be blameless in your statutes, that I may not be put to shame. My soul longs for your salvation. I hope in your word. My eyes long for your promise. I ask, when will you comfort me? I have become like a wineskin in the smoke. Yet I have not forgotten your statutes. How long must your servant endure? When will you judge those who persecute me? The insolent have dug pitfalls for me. They do not live according to your law. All your commandments are sure. They persecute me with falsehood. Help me. I have almost made an end of me on earth, but I have not forsaken your precepts. In your steadfast love give me life, that I may keep the testimonies of your mouth forever, O Lord. forever, O Lord. Your word is firmly fixed in the heavens. Your faithfulness endures to all generations. You have established the earth, and it stands fast. By your appointment they stand still. For all things are your servants. If your law had not been my delight, I wouldn't have perished in my affliction. I will never forget your precepts. For by them you have given me life. I am yours. Save me, for I have sought your precepts. The wicked lie in wait to destroy me, but I consider your testimonies. I have seen a limit to all perfection, but your commandment is exceedingly broad. Oh, how I love your law! It is my meditation all the day. Your commandment makes me wiser than my enemies, for it is ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the aged, for I keep your precepts. I hold back my feet from every evil way, in order to keep your word. I do not turn aside from your rules, for you have told me, how sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through your precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. I have sworn an oath and confirmed it, to keep your righteous rules. I am severely afflicted. Give me life, O Lord, according to your word. Accept my freewill offerings of praise, O Lord, and teach me your rules. I hold my life in my hand continually, that I do not forget your law. The wicked have laid a snare for me, that I did not stray from your precepts. Your testimonies are my heritage forever, for they are the joy of my heart. I incline my heart to perform your statutes forever to the end. I hate the double-minded, but I love your law. You are my hiding place and my shield. I hope in your word. Depart from me, you evildoers, that I may keep the commandments of my God. Uphold me according to your promise, that I may live, and let me not be put to shame in my hope. Hold me up, that I may be safe, and have regard for your statutes continually. You spurn all who go astray from your statute, for their cunning is in vain. While the wicked of the earth you discard like dross. Therefore I love your testimonies. My flesh trembles with fear of you, and I am afraid of your judgments. I have done what is just and right. Do not leave me to my oppressors. Give your servant a pledge of good, and let not the insolent oppress me. My eyes long for your salvation, and for the fulfillment of your righteous promise. Deal with your servant according to your steadfast love, and teach me your statutes. I am your servant. Give me understanding, and I may know your testimonies. It is time for the Lord to act, for your law is being broken. Therefore I love your commandments, and above God, above fine gold. Therefore I consider all your precepts to be right. I hate every false way. Your testimonies are wonderful, therefore my soul keeps them. Your unfolding of your words gives light. It imparts understanding to the simple. I open my mouth and pant, because I long for your commands. Turn to me and be gracious to me, as it is your way with those who love your name. Keep steady my steps according to your promise, and let no iniquity get dominion over me. Redeem me from man's oppression, that I may keep your precepts. Make your face shine upon your servant, and teach me your statutes. My eyes shed streams of tears, because people do not keep your law. Righteous are you, O Lord, and right are your rules. You have appointed all your testimonies in righteousness and in all faithfulness. My zeal consumes me, because my foes forget your words. And your promise is well tried, and your servant loves it. I am small and despised, yet I do not forget your precepts. Your righteousness is righteous forever, and your law is true. Trouble and anguish have found me, yet your commandments are my delight. Your testimonies are righteous forever. Give me understanding that I may live. With my whole heart I cry, answer me, O Lord. I will keep your statutes. I call to you, save me, that I may observe your testimonies. I rise before dawn and cry for help. I hope in your words. My eyes are awake before the watches of the night, that I may meditate on your promise. Hear my voice according to your steadfast love, O Lord. According to your justice give me life. And you draw near who persecute me with evil purpose. And I are far from you, O Lord, but you are near, O Lord, and all your commandments are true. Long have I known from your testimonies that you have founded them forever. Look on my affliction and deliver me, for I do not forget your law. Plead my cause and redeem me. Give me life according to your promise. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they do not seek your statutes. Great is your mercy, O Lord. Give me life according to your rules. Many are my persecutors and my adversaries, but I do not swerve from your testimonies, because I look at the faithless with disgust, because they do not keep your commands. Consider how I love your precepts. Give me life according to your steadfast love. The sum of your word is truth, and every one of your righteous rules endures forever. Princes persecute me without cause, and my heart stands in awe of your word. I rejoice at your word, like one who finds great spoil. I hate and abhor falsehood, but I love your law. 7 times a day I praise you for your righteous rules. Great peace have those who love your law. Nothing can make them stumble. I hope for your salvation, O Lord, and I do your commandments. My soul keeps your testimonies. I love them exceedingly. I keep your precepts and testimonies, and for all my ways are before you. Let my cry come before you, O Lord. Give me understanding according to your word. Let my plea come before you. Deliver me according to your word. My lips will pour forth praise. Will you teach me of your statutes? My tongue will sing of your word, for all your commandments are right. Let your hand be ready to help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I long for your salvation, O Lord, and your law is my delight. Let my soul live and praise you, and let your rules help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. Now that's done, I shall now do the Lord's Prayer. Please pray ahead. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.